one time I was on this business trip down to Pennsylvania, and we flew into Philadelphia from Boston, but it was like a 5-hour drive from the airport to the university we were going to, and so I was going to spend a lot of time with my editor that I was working with, and she was telling us, well, me, because the guy in the back had fallen asleep, but so she was telling me about how she was really into this show called I don't remember. I want to say Taps, but it's not Taps. Something about paranormal. It was on the Discovery Channel or something, and basically these guys who are rooter plumbers by day are paranormal investigators on the side, and they're from Warwick, Rhode Island, which is really funny to me since I spent some time in my childhood living in Rhode Island outside of Warwick. There was this gigantic, on the highway, you know, there's bulletin boards, and there's an overpass where you can only see the tops of buildings, and one of the buildings had a giant, I think it was supposed to be I want to say it was a cockroach, but looking back on it, I don't think it was a cockroach. I think it was some sort of like generic fly, bug, like insect, but it was huge. It took up the whole part of the roof, although now, thinking about it right now, I think if I were to go back to Warwick, I kind of wonder what size it really was. But anyways, so in my mind I always connect Warwick with exterminators. But anyway, so, and my editor, she was obsessed with this show, and she would always watch it, and if her husband was on a business trip and she watched it, she was told a funny story about how she was watching it and he was at work, and when he came home he could tell that she'd been watching it because all the lights, every light on the house was on, and she had locked all the doors. Anyway, so she was really into this stuff, but also really creeped her out. So she was talking about ghosts and how she's really obsessed with ghosts and ghost hunting and paranormal stuff, and I think she was really like talking about it with me because I was always kind of like the weird one in the company. Not like weird, I mean I had a person who sat next to me in my cubicle over who, had like pink crazy dreads and dressed all in black, but still very conventional. But anyways, I guess no one in the company wanted to hear about her obsession with ghosts, but I was like, no, we're in a car, bring it. So we're talking about ghosts, and she was telling me all these stories from the show that she had watched, and she asked me, like, do you believe in ghosts? And I was going to say yes, but then I thought about it, and I kind of didn't know how to answer because, I can't always want to say I'm into the paranormal because that's not really what it is, but I mean I have a fascination for unexplained phenomenon and stuff like that, and I remember growing up in the 80s, on the TV there would always be those advertisements for Time Life books, Unexplained collection, and like one had a picture of like the pyramids on it, and another had a picture of a UFO, and they were books that dealt with different unexplained phenomena. You don't see them anymore, obviously, but I remember one time I was at this like really small rural library, and I was looking through the stacks I don't even know why I was there anymore, but oh no, I remember what it was. I was in school. I was in middle school, so I was in like the 5th grade. And I remember we were doing a project. We had to do a project on a great leader, and then make a puppet out of them, and then do a present, or no, maybe I was just making the puppet. But anyways, we had to do a project on a school leader, and I chose Margaret Thatcher because at the time I was like, yeah, Margaret Thatcher, like, she's a lady, like, that would be cool. But now that I know more about Margaret Thatcher, it's kind of like, wow, Margaret Thatcher. But anyways, I was looking up stuff on Margaret Thatcher, and I found they had the paranormal time-life collection, and I remember even thinking then, you know, as a child, I was like, does this really belong in the library? Like, is this really reference material? I don't know. So then, so yeah, I was thinking about it. I mean, I think if I saw those Time Life books in the yard sale, I would snatch those suckers up really quick. But anyway, so my editor was saying, do you believe in ghosts? And I was kind of thinking about it. And she was telling all these tales about, they go to a saloon and they bring their, like, equipment. I don't even know what kind of equipment they would have, and they were like, like, this place has lots of vibes or bad vibes, and like, people were killed here, because they always go to like creepy places where something bad happened, so they're always like, oh, bad vibes. But and I was thinking, and then I was sort of thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to, like, a part of me didn't want to believe in ghosts, and I'm not one of those people who, if there's something that that I don't want to believe in, like, I don't want to believe in George Bush, so I'm going to think that he was swallowed by a Loch Ness monster. Like, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, it's because something makes me uncomfortable, I don't want to believe in it, but I think it was like the first time I thought about it, and I'm like, wow, I kind of don't want to believe in ghosts in a certain way, because, and I said to the editor, I was like, well, think about it. I kind of don't want to believe in ghosts because, why would you want to hang around? And she's like, well, these are people who were murdered and were traumatized, and so now they're like hanging around. I'm like, if I was like brutally murdered, like in a donut store or something, I probably, if I have a soul that has the choice of hanging around and haunting the donut store or moving on to wherever spirits move on to, I think I would choose not hanging out in the donut store. Like, it's kind of sad. She's like, well, I was like, something horrible happened to you, why would you want to repeat that over and over and over again? And then I thought about all these movies. Like, even though there's this like 80s comedy with Steve Guttenberg, of all people, and Daryl Hannah, and it's called like High Spirits, and like, there are these people and they're staying in a haunted castle, and like every night the ghosts reenact like this murder, but it's a comedy, so it's funny. But anyways, yeah, so I don't know, I guess I was just thinking about it, and like, that would suck, being a ghost, having to relive that, or being so angry that you can't go someplace else. So it kind of made me not want to believe in ghosts. Like, if I die, like, of a heart attack in my kitchen, like, I don't want to haunt my kitchen. Like, oh God, it wasn't fair that I had a heart attack and the zucchini burned, and oh my God, like, eternally haunting the stove seems kind of like a waste of eternity. I don't know. But, and I guess I was thinking about that today. I was thinking about that conversation today because I was thinking about trauma and how we do, like, even as living people, we tend to repeat the same mistakes, or even if something is hurting us, we continue to do it over and over and over again. Or, I don't know.